We humans, we're just fascinated by exploration, aren't we? We look up at the sky, dive deep in the ocean, send probes out into space.
Yeah, that drive is deep in us. But what about the inner frontier?
Exactly. The universe inside each of us. It's this vast territory, really, just waiting to be charted.
And that same curiosity, that same urge to explore the unknown, it applies right there inside. Our listener for this deep dive, they kind of stumbled onto a really interesting map for that inner journey.
Yeah, it started with a chance thing, an Omni magazine article read down in Miami Beach.
Tell me, wow. That takes me back.
Right. And that article introduced them to the Monroe Institute, a place, but also a whole set of ideas that really sparked something about consciousness.
The Monroe Institute. Yeah, it's a big name for anyone looking into consciousness exploration these days. Founded by Robert Monroe.
And his background is what's so interesting. He wasn't like your typical mystic figure.
No, not at all. He came from a technical background, right? Radio engineering.
Exactly. A radio engineer. Someone who really, really understood frequency signals, that whole world. And then, bam, late 50s, he starts having these spontaneous, well, out-of-body experiences.
Can you imagine just suddenly feeling like you're separate from your body? It must have been, well, pretty unsettling at first.
Oh, totally. You'd think something was seriously wrong. His first reaction was concern.
Makes sense. So he looked into it. Doctors, research.
Yeah, he did his homework. And what he found was, hey, he wasn't alone. Not by a long shot.
Right. These experiences pop up across cultures throughout history.
Which really makes you pause and think about the standard view,
Right.
hallucinations. Or could consciousness be?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not entirely stuck inside the skull.
That's the big question Monroe started wrestling with, and being an engineer.
He thought about sound, something he knew inside and out. Could sound, maybe specific sound patterns, influence these states?
Specifically, could he use sound to get the two halves of the brain, the hemispheres, working together?
Synchronized.
Hemispheric synchronization. Hemisync. That became the key term. And could that synchronization actually potentially lead to or facilitate these out-of-body states?
I mean, what a radical idea. Using sound waves, technology to deliberately shift awareness, maybe even induce these profound experiences.
It's that engineering mindset applied to inner space. Thinking about tuning the brain, almost.
Like tuning an instrument, yeah. But for consciousness. Using frequencies to get the brainwaves harmonized.
Precisely. And that Omni article, that was the catalyst for our listener. It talked about this week-long course.
At the Monroe Institute itself, yeah. Out in Virginia, nestled in the foothills.
A place set up specifically for this kind of exploration, using sound. And crucially, it wasn't about lectures.
No, it was experiential. Direct experience was the whole point.
So our listener felt that pull, that curiosity.
He did. They signed up for the Gateways course. Just jumped right in.
Wow. Arriving there, the secluded place, away from all the usual noise. It sounds like a sanctuary.
Totally designed for turning inward.
And the course itself, the structure, was built around that focus, not sitting, listening to talks all day.
Right. It was about personal exploration, guided by these unique audio programs the Institute developed.
And they did this interesting thing right at the start, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, the watches. Everyone had to take off their watches.
It's subtle but powerful. Disconnecting from clock time, preparing you for, well, experiences where time might feel very different.
Definitely sets a tone. And the living quarters themselves, they were designed for this too.
Our listener called them laboratories, right? Individual rooms.
Yeah, like your own personal lab. Bed, headphones, microphone, often light-blocking curtains. Everything to minimize distractions, maximize that inner focus.
And the daily rhythm sounds intense. Listening to tapes, then group discussions.
Yeah, you'd listen to these specially designed audio tracks and then come together to talk about what happened, share the experience.
Imagine that group dynamic. People from all different backgrounds.
Doctors, artists, engineers, you name it.
Yeah.
All drawn there by a similar kind of inner question,
What's really key is how experiential it was from day one. They jumped right into something called Focus 10.
Right. Focus 10. What exactly is that?
It's described as the foundational state. Mind awake, fully alert, but the body deeply, deeply relaxed. Basically asleep.
Okay, I think I know that feeling. Just before you drift off, but you're still aware.
Exactly, that liminal space. And the Institute uses specific sound frequencies embedded in the tapes to help guide you there.
And our listener really felt those tapes worked. Like the sounds themselves were effective.
They emphasized that, yeah, how the frequencies seemed to gently guide their awareness. They described feeling, profoundly outside the body at times, seeing light, even sensing communication.
They called the Institute the Disneyland of the spiritual, which is kind of funny, but captures that tech meets inner exploration vibe.
That's a great description. It shows how Monroe didn't reject technology. He saw its potential as a tool for this inner work.
A pioneer, really. And the program builds, right? Day by day, going deeper.
Exactly. It's structured progressively. Our listener mentioned sometimes needing time just to process, to integrate the really profound experiences, physically affected even.
Wow. But despite maybe some initial hesitation about sharing such personal stuff, they ended up recommending it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that speaks volumes about the impact it had. Robert Monroe, the radio guy turned consciousness explorer, he really opened up a new path.
Using sound to unlock these deep human mysteries. Amazing.
Absolutely. And what makes this deep dive special is that our listener recorded their own thoughts right after each session.
Yes, these personal audio diaries. It gives us this incredibly direct, unfiltered look into their journey through gateways.
So let's get into those. What was one of the first techniques they talked about?
Okay, first up was the energy bar tool. The idea is you visualize creating this focused beam or tool made of pure energy.
Through visualization, actively creating something with your mind's eye.
Took some practice, they said. But they started seeing how it could be used, like an energetic beacon. To connect with guides, maybe?
Or for protection, like an energy shield.
Yeah, or even navigation in these non-physical states.
Yeah.
A multi-tool for inner space.
It's fascinating how visualization becomes so active here. Not just passively seeing things, but shaping energy for a purpose.
Yeah.
Connection, protection, exploration. You're participating.
Then they moved on to Freeform 10. Here, they use that energy bar concept.
The tool they just learned to make.
Right, to generate these intense vibrations, almost like a laser beam, they said. The idea was cleansing negative energy, aligning the subconscious, boosting awareness.
So using the tool for inner work, essentially.
Yeah, they described swirling energy, focusing it on the third eye, and that led to this feeling of entering an inner dimension.
And notice how this builds on Focus 10. That mind-awake, body-asleep state seems to be the launch pad for these more active techniques.
It's the gateway, makes sense. Okay, next tape, liftoff. Sounds pretty literal.
Isn't it just? It's designed to help facilitate that feeling of moving out of the body.
And did it work for our listener?
Apparently so. They described feeling themselves lift up, right through the roof of the building,
What?
up through the clouds, even past the moon.
Past the moon. That's incredible. They also mentioned something funny like practicing the kinesiology of liftoff.
Yeah, trying to figure out the physics of something non-physical. It shows how our minds grapple with these experiences, trying to fit them into familiar frameworks, even humorously.
Totally relatable. Trying to make sense of the utterly strange. Okay, then they went to Introduction to Focus 12.
And interestingly, even before the tape started, they were already kind of shifting, consciously acknowledging any doubts, deciding to be open.
Setting the intention.
Exactly. And Focus 12, they described it as just profoundly beautiful, freedom, joy, happiness, expanded awareness.
Like a state of deep acceptance where you don't need to control things.
Precisely. Just riding this wave of light and joy, letting go.
That surrender seems key in these deeper states, doesn't it?
Right.
So different from our usual gotta make things happen mode.
Very different. And they actually used Focus 12 for problem solving.
How did that work?
They directed their intention, specifically asking how to achieve a conscious, out-of-body experience.
And what answer did they get? Something mystical.
Actually, no. It was quite practical. Patience, practice. You're learning the tools, relax, it will come.
Ah, so it's framed as a skill, something you develop.
Exactly. Not just a random event. It emphasized visualization, too, and trusting those inner nudges.
That reinforces the idea that these are states you can learn to access intentionally. It's about technique and dedication.
Then came Free Flow 12, more exploration in that expanded state.
Bathing in light, riding inner waves. Sounds nice.
And they had this vivid image of someone named Catherine, perceived her inner beauty, felt this simple, beautiful friendship.
Catherine.
Yeah.
That name comes up again, right?
It does. Here, they felt open to nonverbal communication, recognizing this latent ability, maybe something they'd known before with someone they considered a twin connection.
Interesting how personal connections weave into these experiences. Our inner world isn't separate from our relationships, it seems.
Not at all. It's all deeply interconnected. Next was free movement.
Okay, what was that about?
Experimenting with different physical positions, trying to find which posture felt best for facilitating that out-of-body feeling.
Ah, like finding the optimal launch position.
Kind of. They felt they were getting close, getting glimpses of that freedom, feeling it was really imminent, like learning the body language for non-physical travel.
Okay, the 5 questions tape. This one sounds like it led to some big personal stuff.
It really did. Our listener felt this strong connection, identified with a student of Ramakrishna.
Okay. And Yogananda, too.
Yes, felt a strong identification, even a sense Yogananda had visited them as a child.
Wow. Deep connections. And what about their purpose? Did they ask about that?
They did. The sense they got was about expansion, oneness with the divine, expressing divine knowledge and love, connecting with the creator. Big themes.
Huge themes. And what was the message they received?
Just keep on trucking.
Huh. That's brilliant. So grounded amidst all that cosmic insight.
Right, it's that mix again, profound validation of their path, but with this down-to-earth encouragement.
Okay, nonverbal communication.
Yeah,
NVC. This sounds potentially mind-blowing.
it does. It started with light blooming into a lotus flower, then a vision of Jesus,
Okay.
and then an encounter with what they perceived as extraterrestrial beings.
Whoa, ETs. How do they communicate?
Not with words. It was pure love, energy, emotion, excitement, joy, just a direct transmission.
Pure feeling.
And it led to this huge release for the listener, sweating, tears of joy. They felt this was how humans were meant to connect. Pure love transfer. That's incredible. Transcending language entirely, tapping into something much more fundamental.
Then, introduction to Focus 15. What was that like?
Focus 15 was described as no time, a vast, timeless void filled with light.
No time, like past, present, future, all dissolve.
That's the sense, a different kind of awareness beyond our usual linear perception. It aligns with a lot of mystical descriptions of a timeless ground of being.
Okay, and Free Flow 15. Did they explore that timelessness?
Yes, and Catherine reappeared here. A really strong feeling of connection, having known her before, maybe even mentioning Maldek, some kind of past echo, perhaps.
And their daughters were there too.
Yes, filled with joy, like a loving family unit in this state. They described merging with Catherine.
In what way?
Non-sexual, but pure love. Souls merging, third eyes merging, even exchanging something described as liquid light, nectar, a profound feeling of oneness, liquid light. Wow. That imagery is powerful. This connection with Catherine seems really significant.
It definitely deepens here. And then comes a really crucial moment.
Yeah.
The no-tape experience.
Ah, right. What happened there?
They realized they could do it themselves. Access Focus 10, 12, 15, without the tapes playing.
Just through intention.
Yeah. Experience the NVC, ride the waves, enter that timeless state filled with light and love, just by focusing. The tapes were training wheels.
That's huge. It shows the techniques work. They build an inner capacity. The goal isn't dependence on the tech. It's developing your own ability.
Exactly. Silence itself became the gateway. Then communication point 15.
Using Focus 15 to intentionally receive messages.
Right. And they did. Through NVC again images. Catherine, a dove for peace. Sri Maharaj Ji's father.
More connections with guides, teachers, communicating beyond words through direct experience and imagery. A deepening trust in that inner guidance.
Then the no-name tape. This was triggered by music.
Yeah, the song Amazing Grace. It brought back this powerful memory of seeing Maharaj Ji years before. Tears of joy again.
Music is such a powerful trigger.
And they felt surrounded, protected by swans in that moment. Swans keep appearing.
Yeah, interesting symbolism. Okay, Relation Galaxy. Where did they go with that one?
To the center of the universe, they felt. An overwhelming experience of love and unity.
Center of the universe.
Yeah.
Wow. What did they see or feel?
Swans again, a lotus flower, the presence of great masters, divine light, and physically, sensations like astronaut G-forces.
Intense.
Yeah.
And a desire to just stay there.
A powerful desire, yeah. That feeling of merging with universal consciousness, that all-encompassing love, deep yearning.
Understandable. Did they receive any specific guidance there, the 5 messages?
Yes, quite specific things. A mission involving moving to California with Catherine in December,
Okay.
nurturing a good friendship with Kathy, prioritizing devotion to the Lord, a sense that desired outcomes would manifest,
That's reassuring.
the importance of loving unconditionally, and embracing being just a simple messenger.
Wow, very direct guidance for their path. Reinforcing those themes of love, connection, purpose.
Then vibe flow, what was that?
Increasing frequency. feeling like they were vibrating faster, traveling at incredible speeds, being absorbed into pure energy.
That fits with ideas about higher consciousness states having higher vibrational
The
frequencies?
music from the session tape sounds interesting too. Just hearing the music brought them back.
Instantly, yeah. Back to those blissful states. Hearing the music, the voices discussing experiences, it was a trigger.
Like an anchor.
Exactly. Vivid images of Sri Maharaj Ji again, dreamlike and VC, and this feeling they could easily just detach,
Yeah.
not come back.
Whoa, that desire to stay in those states seems common.
It does. Okay, 15 to 20.
Resonance with colors green and purple, and a feeling that
Hmm.
deeper understanding would just come in time.
Green for healing, purple for spirit, common associations, and trusting the process, letting understanding unfold. Patience again.
One patterning. This sounds practical.
Very. A realization about the power of repeated thoughts, how they shape the subconscious.
Like affirmations, but maybe deeper.
Yeah, empowering them to take more control of their life, their emotions, while feeling surrounded by love, connecting the inner work to daily reality.
Freeform 21, what happened there?
Being guided gently inward, profound joy and peace, feeling the presence of guides and teachers again, that loving support, that recurring theme of guidance must be very comforting.
Then revisiting Freeform 15, another experience with Catherine.
Yes, another beautiful one. Beings of light, merging deep love, daughters present again, that liquid light or nectar exchange again too.
The connection deepens further.
And a strong connection felt to Sri Maharaj Ji. Plus, this intuitive nudge visit Catherine in Virginia, which turned out to be important.
Ah, connecting the inner guidance to outer action. Okay, introduction to Focus 21. This was described as...
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Tuning into and being submerged in light, flying with swans again, seeing lotus flowers everywhere.
Swans and lotuses are strong symbols for them.
Definitely. And get this, an encounter with Robert Monroe himself in Focus 21.
No way, meeting the founder in that state.
Yeah, and he apparently offered encouragement. Talk about validation.
Seriously, okay, one more. Freeform 21.
Riding waves of ecstasy and joy, a deep appreciation for Monroe's genius. Feeling oneness, visions of Catherine again, diving deeper into light.
And feeling powerful energy.
At a molecular level, they said, just confirming their whole journey, their path, their aspirations, a profound sense of alignment.
Wow. And the final experience documented, the last night experience. This sounds spontaneous.
Totally. Woke up at 3 a.m., strong inner feeling, connect with Catherine, overcame hesitation, did it.
And the connection.
Deeply loving, but explicitly non-sexual. Just profound connection. And this bizarre detail, experiencing snoring while consciously awake in this blissful state.
Snoring while awake, that's wild.
And feeling protected by swans again. Then, meeting a guide named Running Water.
Guide with a name.
Recognized him as a brother from another time. Depth connection, inner strength, love. It shows how these states started integrating, influencing waking reality.
So wrapping it all up,
Yeah.
this deep dive, based on our listeners' recordings, it's an incredible journey, isn't it?
Absolutely. Into the multidimensional nature of consciousness. The Institute provided tools, direct experiences.
That validated their inner knowing, expanded their whole view of reality.
Revealed this interconnected inner and outer universe filled with potential, guides, teachers. It shows the inner world isn't empty. It's this rich, dynamic landscape.
And the Monroe techniques seem like keys, really, unlocking deeper levels of awareness, self-understanding.
We found a quote from someone named Zoran that just fits perfectly.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
The mind is a universe unto itself, human. And sometimes you need a map drawn in sound to find the brightest stars within it.
Wow. That's beautiful. A map drawn in sound. That's exactly what HemiSync aims to be.
Precisely. The sound tech as the map for that inner cosmos.
So, to give you, our listener, just a little taste of this idea, how sound affects your inner state, we have a small exercise. Our dragon trial, the inner sound.
Yeah, find a quiet spot somewhere you won't be disturbed. Put on some headphones.
And choose a simple, repetitive sound. Could be rain, waves, maybe a pure tone, or if you're curious, find a binaural beat or HemiSync sample online.
Close your eyes. Just focus on the sound. Let it fill your awareness.
And just notice. Notice any shifts inside. Body sensations, thoughts, emotions, anything subtle.
Don't try to make anything happen. Just observe. How does this external sound influence your internal landscape?
It's a simple starting point. Just cultivating that awareness of the connection between sound and your inner state. No fancy tech needed, just attention.
So, this exploration of our listeners' time at the Monroe Institute, It really opens up some fascinating possibilities, doesn't it? For inner exploration, self-discovery.
It really does. And it kind of leaves you thinking.
Yeah, it leaves us with this big question, really. If consciousness isn't just confined to the brain, to the body, what does that mean?
Right. What are the implications? What potential is locked up in these inner technologies
Hmm.
for understanding ourselves, reality, our connection to everything?
It's definitely something to chew on long after we finish talking here. It's something to contemplate for yourself.